Hello everybody, Mr. Pilgrim here, coming at you with a brand new Platinum Trophy guide, and that is going to be for the Ratchet and Clank remake that they did a while back. Now this video is more or less going to be somewhat of a let's play rather than just a specific singled out thing. So as we're going to jump into it, I'm just going to be going through each planet as is from a brand new save so you guys can get a feel for how things are as I am showing you, and then going back and doing things or waiting until later things to do certain things. It all makes sense as we get into it. But now we're going to start off on the first starting planet, Veldin. As of now, you can't get the gold bolt on this planet, but you will eventually be able to just come back for it at some point in time. So, yeah. Alright, so after the small tutorial of just learning how to look around, you'll basically be on your way to some hero tryouts. Have a couple of enemies to fight and defeat. You don't have to fight them, but if you want to, it will go a long ways early on, because it's XP, and you will need to eventually reach max HP. So for the sake of things, I'll probably end up just trying to skip as much as I can. We'll try and break as many boxes as we can early on, as money is important. You'll need to buy new weapons, buy ammo, and things like that. So as you make it to the tryouts, you'll eventually have a couple of things that you can do. You can hit the touchpad and that will show you the map like so. This will let you see certain things. Of course, you can get an upgrade for your map to show you more specific detailed things, which will be very nice. As you can see though, super easy. Nothing too crazy of this starting tutorial world. Have some boxes to break. Like I said, nothing crazy. Here you'll be given your first weapon of the game, which will just cost 100 bolts. You'll also learn how to just use them, or use the weapon, of course. Now, just like every other Ratchet and Clank game except for the first one, you can level up these weapons by using them and damaging enemies. A little bit different from the past versions, to where you actually had to kill or defeat enemies with it. But it is a nice change, as now instead of having to defeat enemies, you just have to damage them. As you're making your way through, you'll see that there's this wall to our left, right before the flamethrower robot. If you come in here, you can find some more bolts, and then you'll find your first holo card pack. This is a new thing with this version of Ratchet and Clank, and I'll go over it now. There will be tutorials that you can go over about this, but basically as it is, you'll find cards. Enemies can also drop cards and stuff like that, and then you can complete sets. Sets will allow you to get new upgrades and things. Now, if you do happen to get upgrades, you can then trade in, or duplicates. You can trade those duplicates in for actual other cards that you don't have to finish a collection. You will need to get 100% of the cards, so don't worry about that just yet. That'll mainly be something for later on. Now there is a set we are going to try and focus on mainly while going through your first playthrough, and that is the Rhino card set. That'll be more for once we have made it to Rogar. So now we'll just keep that in the back of our mind. So now you'll have this fighting section here. Pretty easy stuff. If you do it right, you can actually time these, and as well as leveling up will give you an extra 10 HP on top of that. I'll try and get some more ammo as well. Trying to just more or less just save on money and resources in the long run. Once you make it though, there'll be a cutscene. Alright, so after the cutscene, we'll now be playing as Clank. He'll be in a facility and we'll need to escape. Pretty simple. All you're doing is just running away from things. No puzzles or anything like that just yet. Or at least no puzzles that are really complicated. They don't just throw those at you out the gate, luckily. But as you see, once you play through the game, it's a little boring doing some of the clank sections, especially since you have to do it at least 2 times guaranteed. Because you'll have to play through the game at least twice. Once on normal and then once on challenge mode. But as you're going through, you'll eventually start getting chased by this giant robot dude, Victor. He's pretty bad at his job as he can't kill us. But we'll eventually just outrun him and be on our way. Here we'll be introduced to a new robot. As you'll see here, I also am going to try and show you all of the puzzles made easier. As you can see, there's a gold bolt over there. Can't get it. That'll be much later in the playthrough. Now, depending on things, I will also try and fit 1 or 2 planets in per video if I can. That way, less videos to have to sit and watch, but still the same amount of content. But this should be our last run and gun section, if I remember correctly, or at least 1 or 2 more. Like I said, mainly just trying to get to the ratchet stuff is more fun for me. Like I said, this guy's pretty bad at his job. Can't get a little robot. He'll eventually do this fire attack, which doesn't really change much. He just puts some fire that he'll probably have to clean up later or something. As you can see though, it's cakewalk. One last time, and I believe that should be it. Alright, so after those cutscenes, you'll eventually be outside with Clank, and you'll have to get back to the garage. So while we're on our way, I'm just going to avoid most of these little enemies. You'll learn about how to grapple by using circle. Here you'll get your first actual weapon, or your second weapon actually, the blaster. Sadly, of course, you won't have any ammo for it, so that's okay.
Nice, a combustor. Nice work.
Have a small little shooting puzzle to make sure that you actually can aim and stuff like that. But as you're going through, this will also be an introduction to the combat of the game as well. There also is a lock-on system sometimes. Or if you want to, you can kind of freehand some things. But now we can move on. So here you'll have your first little drop ship fight that you'll do. I'm going to try and grab the ammo from both sides just to save myself some trouble. You also learn how to strafe while you're here. I say. But once it's done, you should be able to then move on to the next area and the last little fight area that you'll have to do.
We gotta look for some defects. The bars are all over his garage. Grim,
Since it's pretty early on in the game, most of the enemies should go down fairly easily.
just hold tight. I got this.
Now while we're at it, we're also going to just swing around and grab the ammo crates and things like that. Like I said, just trying to save on resources. As you'll see though, we're almost done with this little area. All that's left is to take out this dropship, and then we can move on to the second planet of the game. You also, like I said, when enemies drop cards, and they're a new card, it'll let you know that it's new.
Hey, Grim, coast is clear. Can you open up?
Alright, so now we can skip over to the second planet.
Listen, get my tools ready. I just found some.
Alright, so now we're on Novalis.
We should upgrade our weapons first.
Here you can actually find that you have access now to, you'll have the tutorial section for using your raritanium to upgrade things. As you'll see, this will now allow you to upgrade things as well. So now you can either buy two new weapons, the Pyrocitor or the Proto-Drum. I'll take the Pyrocitor, because why not? More weapons means more fun. So there's a couple ways that you can go on Novalis. And we're just going to take the main one first, which will be heading down. You can't always just jump down, of course. As, like I said, getting new cards will make themselves known. And along the way, we will also be picking up more gadgets and things like that. To switch between weapons is I just mainly hold triangle, and that brings up the weapon wheel, and that's what I mainly use. Take out these enemies, head up the stairs, be on our way. Get some more ammo, of course. Get some more raritanium. Almost fall through a bridge. Basically run out of ammo, so that's okay. You have this small little cutscene showing you the mayor's ship that's crashed. Basically, you gotta save them. Along the way, you also defeat some more enemies, level up weapons if possible. You know, the good old stuff. There's not really much that you can do in the first couple of planets in terms of collecting things or getting new things. You'll basically just be playing through them. but we are so close to leveling up our blaster. It is right there. As well as our palm glove. We also leveled up again, so it means more HP for us. Finish off the last enemy, and we can now get the next planet. Gonna just skip the cutscenes, of course.
We gotta get to Iridia.
Agreed, but we must first repair our ship.
Right. Okay. Let's see if we can find some
But
help.
from here, we can now head to the second area and then the optional area as well.
Safe and sound. I was rescued by a furry hero and his robot friend. I will now
So from here, if you're looking at your ship, you'll turn to the left and go into this cave area.
Look out!
Pretty simple. Just a little bit of platforming. Here we'll probably get our first upgrade, as you'll see. Now we'll switch back to this weapon. Now in this room there's actually a small little secret, and it's another holo card pack. If you're playing on the original version of the game on PS3 or even on PS2, this would be actually where you find your first gold bolt. So we'll finally just open everything up. As you can see, we already have completed a set, which will now give us more holo cards, which is pretty cool. Now do note the way in order that you get those cards is going to be random sometimes. It'll be based on what planet you're on will determine, you know, what cards you get, or there'll just be a general specific, you know, cards that are given. So do keep that in mind. That'll be the upgrade to the fusion grenade, right? Yeah, fusion grenade. Almost done with the second area. To have this crank we'll have to turn. This will allow us to get up to the higher area. Now do note that I'm not going to be going over the story related trophies, as those will just be naturally earned and given to you, so do keep that in mind. But as you can see, we've now made it to the end. More cutscenes to skip. Before we leave though, we'll grab this little area and some ammo. And we can now head down the slide and be back at our ship. But there is one last thing that we'll do on Novalis. As you'll see here, you'll reunite with the guy. And now we can re-enter our ship. However, if we actually turn around and come over here, we can head to the secret optional area. Alright, so in the secret optional area, or I shouldn't really say both, it's just an optional area, as there's nothing really important over here except for a holo card pack, which of course, you know, trying to get as many holo cards out of the way as fast as you can really helps. You'll have these new enemies here that you can fight and interact with. You also have a swimming section, which you'll then also learn about. So in this area, you will need at least one fusion grenade to blow open that secret wall. That will be where you found the second gold bolt out of, I think, 3 on this planet on the original version of the game. But as you'll see back here, you have this holo card pack. Most of the time they don't have much, but if you really want to, you can always just get a holo card pack, wait, and then get whatever cards you picked up along the way with the pack. Or just open it when you get it, as doing that will just pause combat.
This must be the way.
Alright, as you can see though, we'll be back outside, and we can now also buy the proto drum. Now we're also going to be upgrading some of our weapons. As you'll see, if you have the question mark, like I said, the tutorial probably shows you how to do that. The proto drum is actually really good at getting some holo cards sometimes. Or proton drum. But anyways, that's probably going to do it for the first episode, as I don't want this to run too long, of course. But as always, this has been Mr. Pilgrim. I do hope that this guide will be helpful, informative, or, you know, the usual jazz that I always spew about. But as always, I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.